Happy Halloween, boys and girls, and welcome to another edition of Going to Bed with Mike and Steve. I'm Mike.
And I'm Steve.
And we are continuing to read Goosebumps number 42, Egg Monsters from Mars by R.L. Stine. Bark, 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 bark. Bark, bark. We're on chapter 18, Steve.
Oh, man, and things are picking up pretty quick.
Step away from the door, Dana, Dr. Dre ordered. Try to calm down. Calm down? You'll be okay, the scientist said. I take very good care of my specimens. Specimens? I didn't want to calm down.
I take real good care of them.
I take real good care of them. Any kind of cereal you want, provided it ain't the expensive name brand kind. I'll get you one of those big bags of
Crispy Crunch,
Fruity Loopios from the bottom shelf,
and cinnamon squares.
Cinnamon squares, as much as your little heart could desire. I didn't want to calm down, and I didn't want to be a specimen. I'm a boy, not a specimen, I told him angry.
A real boy.
Well, now, we have specimens of every gender identity. We got male, female, transgendered, those outside of the gender binary, and within it. Don't you worry, we'll find you some playmates that you identify with. I don't think he heard me. He lifted me out of the way, then he clicked the small remote unit in his hand. The door opened just long enough for him to slide through. It made a loud click as it snapped shut behind him. Locked in. I was locked in this freezer with 36 Martians. He's not even gonna put him in a separate unit. Like, yeah, I understand, alright, you're holding him hostage because he touched the thing, but it's not like they shouldn't keep him in the same observation tank as the Martians. He's not a Martian. You're observing the Martian's effect on the human. I mean, unless you're hoping that there's some sort of a, Martian boy orgy if that's what you're studying, but
how they interact, and 36, was that already mentioned? You had 36 of them?
36 of them, so that's 36 Martians.
I thought there were much less than that.
I know, I pictured like 6.
He's like, I found a few. No, 36.
36. My heart pounded. I heard a shrill whistle in my ears. My temples throbbed with pain. My whole head felt ready to explode. I'd never been so angry in my life. I let out a cry of rage. The egg creatures all began to chatter. I spun around in surprise. They sounded a little like chimps.
Chimps? Oh, I was thinking chipmunks. I was like, chipmunks.
I was like, what the fuck kind of zoos have you been going to? That's a better chimp sound.
Yes.
Good job. A room full of chimps chattered away. Only they weren't chimps. They were monsters from Mars, and I was locked in all alone with them, a specimen. No! I let out another howl and ran to the long window. You can't leave me here, I shrieked. I pounded on the glass with both fists. I wanted to cry. I wanted to scream until my throat was raw. I'd never felt so angry and so frightened all at once. Let me out! Dr. Dre, let me out of here! You can't keep me here, I screamed. I banged on the window as hard as I could. I'll pound till I break the glass, I told myself. I'll break through, then I'll climb out and escape. I beat my fists frantically against the glass. Let me out of here! You can't do this! The glass was thick and hard. No way I could break through. Let me out! I uttered a final scream. When I turned back into the room, the egg creatures... Turn the page. Stop chattering. They
stopped what they were doing.
They stared up at me with their black button eyes. They didn't quiver or bounce. They stood totally still as if they had frozen. I'm gonna freeze, I realized. I rubbed my bare... Well, and that's the thing. So Dr. Dre is aware that in order for the egg monsters to be as active as possible, they need to be in a cool environment.
But that doesn't quite work with humans.
Again,
he's not very good at different species.
I'm a scientist. Negative 18 degrees. That works for you, buddy. There you go. They didn't quiver or bounce. They stood totally still, as if they had frozen. I'm going to freeze, I realized. I rubbed my bare arms, but it didn't help warm me. My hands were ice cold. Icicles are going to form on me, I thought. I'm going to freeze to death in here. I'm going to turn into a human popsicle. Delicious. Oh, this is another one of those situations like we were talking about before, where popsicle it's capitalized here because it's a popsicle brand.
Yeah.
The egg creatures stood so still. Their eyes were all locked on me, as if they were studying me, as if they were trying to decide what to do about me. Suddenly, my egg creature broke the silence. I recognized it by the blue by the blue veins down its front. It started to chatter loudly. The other egg creatures turned, as if listening to it. Was it talking to them? Was it communicating in some weird Martian chatter language? I hope you're telling them about how I saved your life, I called to it. I hope you're telling them what a good guy I am. You almost went down the drain, remember? Of course, the egg creature couldn't understand me. I don't know why I was shouting at it like that. I guess I was totally losing it. It probably had something to do with my being a child, a very, very young child, with my father screaming at me before I could understand what his words meant. Eat the damn peas, he shouted. Of course, I didn't understand and just tossed them onto the floor.
Why would
my
I
father
eat these
shook
green
me.
orbs?
My father shook me. Suddenly, I blacked out.
Ooh, dark.
I don't know why I was shouting like that, totally freaked. As the creature chattered on, I stared at the others. They all listened in silence. I started to count them. There were so many of them. 1, 2, 3, 4.
You said
5,
3 dozen
6,
already.
7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. No, I counted you already. 17, 18.
Shoot.
All
I gotta
right,
start.
everybody line up, left to right, based on alphabetically and by your birthday. No, just by your birthday.
So you're lad. You just had
Both of you have the same birthday? What time were you born? AM or PM?
You don't know? Oh, you were in here all along. Geez. You're a little taller. I'd say you're older.
Okay, so you're 11 o'clock PM. You're also 11 o'clock. Oh, but you AM. Okay, good. So you're on the left. You're
there. Okay.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 35. Okay. Were they friendly? Did they like strangers? Did they like humans? How did they feel about being locked up in this freezing cold room? Did they feel anything at all? These were questions I didn't really want to know the answers to, so I'm not quite sure why I was even pondering.
I'm not really that curious, so I'm just gonna stop asking questions like these.
I decided to try the window again, but before I could move, my egg creature stopped talking, and the others started to move. Silently, they huddled together, pressed together into a wide yellow wedge, like a big brick of cheese. And rolling faster than I can imagine, they attacked. Bum, bum, bum!
They attacked. Oh, they did. Oh, God.
He's dead, Steve. He's
it.
dead. Chapter 19. Anne sat at my funeral, tears rolling down her face, her mascara smearing over her cheeks. Chapter 19. Hey! I uttered a startled cry and backed up. The wedge of egg creatures rolled forwards. Their bodies slapped the floor wetly as they bounced towards me. I retreated until my back hit the window. Nowhere to run. What do you want? I screamed. My voice came out high and tight in panic. What do you want? What are you doing about it?
What do you want from me? What do you want from me?
I turned and banged on the window again, pounding with open hands. Dr. Dre! Dr. Dre, help me! Did they plan to roll over me, to swallow me up? To my surprise, the egg creatures stopped a few inches in front of me. They twirled and bounced until they had formed a circle once again. Then, moving quickly and quietly, they shifted back into a big yellow triangle. They're trying to communicate with him. Triangle! Triangle!
How do we... Triangle! How else are we supposed to say this? Triangle!
Triangle! Triangle! Triangle! Triangle!
It's the strongest shape.
Triangle is the strongest shape. I stared down at them, shivering, my teeth chattering. They're not attacking, I decided, but what are they doing? Why are they forming these shapes? Are they trying to talk to me? I took a deep breath, trying to calm my panic. You're a scientist, Dana, I reminded myself. Act like a scientist, not a frightened kid. Try to talk back to them.
Remember, you're serious.
You're serious. Be serious about this.
Serious.
Damn it! Triangles, Jim! Damn it! I thought hard for a few seconds, then I raised my hands in front of me. As I formed a circle with my pointer fingers and thumb, I held the circle up so the creatures could all see it, and waited to see if they did anything. The yellow blobs had formed a wide triangle that nearly filled the room. I saw their round black eyes go up to the circle I had formed, and then I watched them bounce and roll into a circle!
Whoa!
Were they copying me?
Why were they doing that to begin with? Were you
Triangle!
Were you subconsciously like circle, triangle, holding your hands up?
Maybe he was sitting down like, crisscross applesauce, like Land O'Lakes, and so each of the knees is
So they're like the
one
points.
corner, the head is the... No, but he was standing. Maybe he had his legs spread
So
totally
they're like,
wide.
oh, they just look at any possible shape.
His
that could
legs were
form.
spread as wide as possible. He had his arms down
So they're
by
like-
his sides, and then he's up. Maybe he looked like a triangle. I took a deep breath. No, sorry. I held the circle up, and then I watched the bounce roll into a circle. Were they copying me? I straightened my fingers and thumbs into a triangle, and the egg creatures formed a triangle. Yes! They were communicating, I realized. Of course, we can only communicate triangles and circles and octagons. I can essentially form a shape, and they'll do it. It's a little less communication and a little more
Just kind
street side trickery. It's It's like training a dog to roll over. You're not really communicating any sort of information back and forth. You're just giving a command and it's performing it. But hey, it's a start. We're communicating, I realized. We're talking to each other. I suddenly felt really excited. I felt like some kind of pioneer. I'm the first person on Earth to communicate with Martians, I told myself. These creatures are friendly, I decided. They're not dangerous. I'm pretty sure Dr. Dre had previously suggested
they're not dangerous.
that they were copying shapes in an effort to communicate. I'm not going to go back and try to find it, but
Yeah.
I am pretty damn sure that we did read that. So, in which case,
He's not.
You're not really a
first,
pioneer, you're
and
just,
he just kind of figuring.
it's like building a paper mache volcano and saying,
determined-
damn it, I'm a scientist. I've determined that baking powder and vinegar, when put together, will erupt. I'm a pioneer, even though somebody else had done it before.
every year.
These creatures are friendly, I decided. They're not dangerous. I didn't really know that for sure, but I was so excited that I had communicated with them. I didn't want to think anything bad about them. Dr. Dre has no right to keep them prisoner here, I thought. Damn Skippy! And he has no right to lock me up
Meant
with
to be
them.
free.
Meant to be free. Set them free. I didn't believe his excuse for keeping me here. Not for a minute. Clearly he wants me as his sexual slave. Like, his excuse... What other excuse would Dr. Dre have for keeping him there?
I mean, his reasoning is fairly sketchy at best.
Well, no, I mean, it's sketchy, but I mean, it's sound for the circumstance.
I suppose.
Like, he's saying he didn't believe his reason for keeping him
Right.
for a second.
It's like,
but I'm just...
what else would he be doing?
This is all
otherwise?
just an elaborate ruse
I don't believe him.
to,
He
lure,
can't.
to lure a pubescent boy into his laboratory? I don't think so.
Nope.
Just because I touched one? Just because I handled one? Did he really expect me to believe that touching an egg creature could harm me? Jellyfish!
I don't think there's... That's not...
That's not unreasonable.
Yeah.
Did he really think that my touching this barrel
Let
of
me look
toxic waste could really turn me into a radioactive individual?
Let me take a spoonful.
Did he really think that touching an egg creature would give me a weird disease or change me in some way?
No.
That was just stupid. I carried the little yellow blob in my hands and I felt perfectly fine. These creatures are my friends, I told myself. Touching them isn't going to harm me in any way.
Again, if it doesn't happen right away, it won't happen at all.
But I'm a scientist. At least I want to be a scientist, so I have to be
know.
scientific, I realized.
We know, you've said that so many times.
I decided to check myself out, just to make sure. I opened up my drawers and I reached inside and I felt around and it felt
did I
real
find?
nice.
I
Boom, chick, boom, boom, chick.
Magic.
I raised my hands and inspected them carefully. First one, then the other. They looked okay to me. No strange rashes, no skin peeling off. I still had 4 fingers and a thumb on each hand. Hand. I rubbed my arms, they were the same too, perfectly okay. Might as well check myself all over too, I told myself. I reached down and grabbed my left leg, soft and mushy. Oh no, I wailed. I squeezed my leg again, soft and lumpy. I didn't have to look. I knew what was happening. I was slowly turning into one of them. Oh shit.
Whoa. We could have easily skipped over that. Just
I know,
pay
no
attention to the rapping, but oh my god.
Sorry, he reached down, grabbed his left leg. It was soft and mushy. Yeah, let's read that again. I rubbed my arms. They were the same too. Perfectly okay. Might as well check myself out all over, I told myself. Might as well check myself out all over, I told myself. It's redundant. Okay. I reached down and grabbed my left leg, soft and mushy. Oh no, I wailed. I squeezed my leg again, soft and lumpy. I didn't have to look. I knew what was happening. I was slowly turning into one of them. I was turning into a lump of scrambled eggs!
So are these other kids as well? I got curious.
Maybe, Steve. Maybe. All right, well, that's all we have time for tonight, Steve. Good night, Steve.
Good night, Mike. Good night, everybody.